so gay. So gay. Welcome to Smartly Uneducated, everybody. On a Sunday again. What are the odds? Normally we're on a Friday, but we've done two now back to back on Sundays.
That's exactly right.
It's kind of nicer that way sometimes. And stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, it depends on the day. I mean, I would want to do this every single day of the week, to be honest. I could do this Monday through Sunday, be happy to talk to all the people out there listening to us.
Yeah.
I would honestly prefer to do that, but today is March 23rd. Y'all are going to be hearing this probably 2 weeks after we air this live, so things will probably change in the news as it typically does whenever I do the first 10 minutes of segments. My name's Evan, by the way, for all of you just now viewing and coming to check us out. If you're a new listener, I'm Evan. The other guy was Ben. He's an all right dude. I'm an all right dude too.
He's an all right dude.
I'm feeling really goofy today, so heads up for anybody listening and jamming along with us today. That theme song you just heard was from Justin Beck and David Southerner out of Richardson, Texas. Mm-hmm. The song name is called Ship of Theseus.
It's tight.
Thank you all so very much for sticking in with us first time around. And if you get here early, you're a real one. You're a real one for getting here early.
You're a real one.
Later on in the show, we'll start getting more traction. More people will start joining in whenever they realize or are able to make their favorite cocktail or able to make their favorite snack to come sit down and hang out with us. But if you just tuned in because you saw the alert, hell yeah. And as always, the phone number is going to be here during the show. Feel free to call us at any time. It's 469-659-7364. You can call us anytime during the show. We'll answer it. You can talk to us live.
Oh, that's real mature.
You can also leave a voicemail if you're hearing this after the fact, and we'll play the voicemail live on air if it isn't just a bunch of racial slurs.
Don't call us yet. The lines are not active yet.
Ben does not have them pulled up yet, so give it just a moment.
I didn't know you were going to give that shout out right away.
It's always on the screen, dog. It's always on the screen.
What are you talking about? Doesn't exist.
But I've had a wonderful weekend. I've become a big-time grass dad recently, dude. I am trying to get my grass looking like the best lawn in the neighborhood. So I've been slowly stealing other people's grass. I went and got one of those golf punch holes. You know how they make the holes in the golf course? They have a punch and it pulls out like a cylinder of grass. I've been stealing grass all around town.
Have you really just been walking around? Well, this is like looking around, shit.
I mean, this is socialist America now,
gosh.
dude. Our grass is looking great.
I prefer it not to be so.
Our grass is looking great, all right?
Yeah.
Hey, Steven, I like your grass down there. My grass is looking great, too. Our grass is doing wonderful. What is our routine for our grass? It's coming along pretty well, actually.
Well, you got to nurture just right if you want to be able to get high.
I've stolen the local high school.
Oh, we're not talking about that.
No, I'm not talking about weed, dog.
I thought you were talking about robbing drug dealers around town. I really did. I thought you were.
I am vengeance. I am night.
I thought you weren't even going the Batman route. You were like, hey man, how much for like a gram? And they're like oh this, here's $20-$30, whatever. And all of a sudden you're like, you just snatch and grab and run.
Oh, that's really dangerous.
You've been working on your cardio recently. Explains a lot. You've been working on running away.
I've been jump roping a lot, that's for sure. I've been learning how to jump out of danger. My reaction time is much higher. Test me, dude. Throw something at me right now.
My reaction time.
Throw something
so
at me
high.
right now, dude.
Yeah, my reaction time's so high.
So fast, nobody saw. I caught it already before he even threw it. Hell yeah, dude. Anyway. Yeah, so
anyways, keep going.
The U.S. flew over China just the other day, as they typically do for flyovers, to spy on their enemies, to spy on
They would say to drop bombs. I was like, well, there's that.
And World War III. But no, they did a flyover, as they do, as every country does to every other country in the world, to spy on their tech, see what they're doing, see how things are going. And they found a massive fusion laser being created, and it was on, bro. It It's just this gigantic laser beam being shot across like space and time. It's really cool.
I don't know why. But
Freaking laser beams.
You sharing that news story, it's just like, I didn't see that part coming.
Which one?
The last part. They found this giant laser beam just shooting across into nothing.
The article refers to it
Wow.
as a massive fusion laser.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it's in a complex of all their other research facilities where they were shooting a big blue laser beam across the field to see if it worked, and it does.
Dude, sounds like me back in high school when we'd be getting out of ag class, and then we just kind of head out into the field and we just start shooting cans.
Yeah, man.
Just see if we could hit it.
Yeah, and whenever I'm out there shooting them cans, sometimes
That's a true story, though.
I'm drinking cans and throwing them in the air and shooting them too.
That's a true story, too. All these are true stories, actually.
Yes, and
China just did it, but they took it up to like the millionth level with lots of financial backing and engineers, and like, turn on the laser sign.
oh, you shoot a can with a laser? We shoot it with fusion laser.
You almost like, I wouldn't even say that's Chinese.
The
Like,
Japanese.
that's
I just
more
did a Korean.
Japanese. You're not angry.
You know,
enough. You have to be a
everybody,
little bit
we all know that
angrier.
I do not do accents well. Considering that Conor McGregor is now running for president in Ireland, I have been trying to do an Irish accent of Conor McGregor all week just to say this one line I've been working on. And I just sent it. I just did it to Ben before we went live, and it was really bad. So I'm not sure if I'm going to say it or
I
not.
liked your other impression. The other Kronk
my
from
Kronk,
Emperor's New
bro.
Groove. I loved your Kronk impression.
All right, Cusco. Hey, Cusco. Squeakity, squeakity, squeak. Oh, you don't speak squirrel?
Oh, you lost it there at the end.
Oh, you don't speak squirrel, huh?
You're getting there.
Squeakity, squeakity, squeak.
Normally, he just does his Yoda impression.
Oh,
They don't
no.
even sound like Yoda. They just sound like some weird guy. And he used to do that for every single impression he would do.
It's me, Yoda!
Anyway, so cryptography.
What a turn of events. I just wanted to say real quick that I support Conor McGregor running for president. He's going to make the fucking Ireland the people's champ.
Dude, I can see it now. They're going to be like, he's going to be doing his campaigns and shit. And then all of a sudden they're going to be like, you know, let's say he wins. And all of a sudden it's going to be 10, 20 years from now, 30 years. Let's say it's 50, let's just say 50-year anniversary since Conor McGregor became president or whatever in Ireland. And they're like, go back on his greatest hits. All they're going to end up playing is clips from him at the UFC, like fucking
Swinging his
yeah, doing that. Or be like, fook that guy.
Fuck that guy. I'm going to kill him. Yeah.
It's like just talking shit, wearing his money suits.
My
up there at
favorite
his
part about it
briefing.
is if he's in like during a
Oh.
debate, they'll be like, "You can't do that, Connor. You can't do anything." And he's like, "Say it to my fucking face, then."
He's gonna start squaring off.
Come
with him. Dude. He'd be the most lethal president in history. I mean, I don't know what all Vladimir Putin can do, but he's obviously trained. He's former KGB. He,
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
carries himself a certain way. It shows. But
Lyndon B. Johnson, no, he wasn't very.
face value, you could say that Conor McGregor probably is the most one of the most lethal or the most lethal presidents in modern history.
If he wins,
not
right?
thousands of years ago.
If he
I don't think
he
he's got
wins.
shit on the dudes who like went out there wearing like 400 pounds of armor and bludgeoned each other with swords and shit. Nah, he ain't got shit on them. But in modern time, we're all soft and squishy pussies. Yes. Yeah.
Can we talk about medieval battles for just a moment before we get
They
into
used
this?
cryptography back then too.
Just say they did. So
Sorry, I just want to throw that in there.
cryptography has been used since the BCE era. It's been used forever.
Oh, it's a
Just in
long
different
time.
forms. It's we're gonna get into that here in a moment. Like I said, I'm feeling real goofy, so I gotta get some of my goofs out. Fuck.
Hey, everyone does.
Could you? Hey, all right. Can you imagine what it would be like if we were to join these medieval battles? And also, these medieval guys were absolute maniacs, wandering around this field full of just like mangled bodies with mangling weapons, wearing 60 pounds of
Oh, more than 60
armor.
pounds, bro. That's
They
just
can't
like
even
hundreds of
move.
pounds. Yeah.
the bravery or just the flat out stupidity they had.
You know,
or
like-
boredom. Were they just super horny and they couldn't, they just were just angry? They're like, let's go fight, damn it.
I mean, if I could never have sex, I'd be fighting all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
It
why
keeps us
not?
docile.
I know it makes sense, but all in the reality, if you think about it, think about this perspective. What if all those knights back in the day, like the dudes who wore all the old school times, like had like 200 pounds of armor on, just wait around every step they take, they sink like 6 inches into the
Yeah.
ground. They're like claw. Bro, that's like, imagine growing up in that time and you see those dudes walk around and only so many people had that super decked out armor. That's like growing in a way. Think about growing up now as a kid and you see, like, you're playing Fallout as a kid and you want to get that Brotherhood armor,
Yeah.
right? That's like getting the Brotherhood armor for the first time and you think, oh, I'd be unstoppable in that thing, whatever. But it's back then, so it's not motorized, so you got to do it yourself. And then it's like you get in, you're like, fuck, I regret every step I'm taking.
And then all of a sudden you're covered in tar and fire and you're burning alive in there.
Dude, you probably thought you were invincible wearing all that fucking armor, dude.
Yeah, until they throw tar and fire on you.
Running is not your strong suit in that armor.
You ain't stopping, dropping, or rolling for shit.
Can you imagine seeing the knights all of a sudden, like, they're all like, got all these like tar pits and like these, like, they walk into a trap and they're about to dump all this hot tar or whatever on them and they're like, oh shit, we gotta run.
Wait for me, damn it. Wait for me. I am your king. Wait for me.
Hey, dude, it would be like watching, if you haven't seen the new Fallout like live action
Yeah.
series, it would be like watching the ghoul fight the dude in the armor, how slow he moves the whole time. It'd be like watching that.
Why did you write Evan loves ass in the chat?
I didn't say that. I said Evan loves grass.
Or asses.
I meant or grasses. Sorry, I forgot the GR and the ES on that one. I'm really bad about typing sometimes.
Sometimes fat fingers, dude. I get it. I that's me as well. But it's a lot of
I think
S's.
we just got hacked, at least.
it was a hack. We got hacked.
Dudes got hacked.
I don't know. I've been teaching my son how to drive. It's been a nightmare. Hi, Cole. Sorry.
Driving him right into crypto.
If yeah, do you want to get started?
I'm just making sure to name drop it because that's what we're supposed to talk about at some point. So I'm making sure to name drop it.
I'm driving him right into cryptography, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. I'm on the highway of SH256.
That's actually kind of a funny play. What was it? South Highway?
Yeah.
But it would be
Shaw.
HWY, right?
Yeah. It's close, right?
Shall we?
Shaw.
Shall we?
Shui. Shui.
256?
Is anybody enjoying this?
No, they're not. They're not.
Have we
enjoying
lost
this.
everybody? The
I-
10 people that are here? Hello. Sorry, everybody.
I don't think anyone's enjoying this because we're not talking about the topic.
All right.
So,
Please correct us. Please get back into
all
it.
right, let's talk about cryptography.
So what is it?
So cryptography is basically a lock and key type setup. So, for instance, cryptography became a thing in history a long time ago because they wanted to keep either like messages secret, and they wanted to control what information was going from point A to point B and who could see it and do what. And then, and it's applied across a litany of levels. But it's been used for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. It was used, like, for instance, a good example, and we'll be getting to these examples actually more in depthly as we go on, but like Egyptian culture, hieroglyphs. They used hieroglyphics as a form of cryptography. And not even just a form of it. There were certain hieroglyphics that were straight up just cryptography because that's all they were there for.
Yeah, just like scrambled letters on a tablet.
Yeah, and then you had the what was the Greek? There's so many of them. I say we just start from the beginning and just go right through.
Yeah, absolutely. So cryptography, if you break that down into its Greek lineage language, crypto means substitution and graphy means transition. So it's specifically just substitution and transition. You have two things that you need to blend together to make one. That's all it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
At its layman's easiest terms. My favorite example that I was able to come across before it became really in depth and conspiratorial, if you will, was before they realized how to use cryptography to its benefit in wartime and in fever times, if you will, was they would take a tablet, write their message, "I love you, hope you're having a good day," and put wax over it and send it off. Mm-hmm. Be like, they'll never figure that out.
Yeah.
But of course they did.
Wait, when you say wax, are you talking about it's very similar to like Mesopotamia?
I believe so.
Like
yeah.
with the clay tablets?
I gotta sneeze.
Oh, my bad. So, sorry. What I was asking was in Mesopotamia, they used clay tablets that would, these clay tablets, dated back thousands of years or whatever, but they showed like a cuneiform, like symbols.
What is cuneiform?
Basically, it's a actually pull up the real definition. I don't want to try to
From memory.
Yeah, I'm gonna butcher
It's an
that.
ancient writing system developed in Mesopotamia, so it's just their language.
Yeah, but it was tweaked just enough, just to make sense only to you, to those who knew the actual system. So if you didn't know the system and you weren't aware of these tweaks, it was scrambled. You could not read it.
Yeah.
And that was their form of cryptography that they did. And in fact, it was since it's intentional distortion of information to restrict like people from reading it, it basically is like a prototype type cryptography in its rawest form, essentially. So, and that was a long time ago. I mean, hell, look at the Spartan. It's called the Skytail or Cytail, and that's from the 5th century BCE. And basically, it's one of the first actual cryptographic tools.
That's 5th century for y'all. That is a very long time ago. Maybe 10,000 years ago, maybe more.
Yeah, it's a long fucking time ago. But that basically how it worked with the Greeks is that basically they took a strip of parchment and they wrapped it around a particular type of rod that was a specific diameter, and it had to match that diameter precisely. It couldn't be off by a centimeter. If it was off by a centimeter, it did not work. So basically it would wrap around these rods of a specific diameter, and then the message was written across the rod. And so when the parchment was unwrapped, if you unwrap the parchment from the rod, it would just scramble all the letters.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, so it's written on the parchment and then it's wrapped around the rod, but it has to be a particular diameter of a rod as it rolls around for it to form the actual what it's supposed to say.
But was there a way to unravel it? Did you ever come across that?
What do you mean unravel it? Are you talking about like unravel the paper?
Yeah.
Oh, they can unravel all they want.
Without it damaging the message?
Yeah, you could unravel it all the time.
Really?
Like you could unravel it from what I was reading. But the thing is that if you unravel it, so how they write it, so if you were to unravel this paper, it basically looked like symbols that were like, imagine if you wrote, "Hi, my name is Bob," right? And you were using this thing. If you unravel that paper, there wouldn't even be a letter. It would be random little pen marks.
Oh, so you can only read it when it's rolled up.
Yes, it had to be wrapped around this rod.
That's very cool.
Yeah, you had to wrap it around the rod in order to read it as it rolled.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's fucking insane.
That's way beyond anything that I could ever think of to do.
I know. And then the thing is that the only way to read the message, other than, you could find an identical rod. But I looked up into like the identical rod aspect of it, going like, okay, how identical does it need to be? It needs to just be 99% the same size or length or whatever. And it turns out, nope, it has to be exactly the same size. If it literally, like, so if you were off by a centimeter in the diameter of the rod, you couldn't read it.
That's amazing that they were able to do it so specifically, so precisely, right?
Yeah.
In the 5th century BCE, they were able to replicate, I would imagine, 100 of these rods, just to throw a random number out there, and to have them all perfectly, precisely the exact same.
And the type of, and this particular type of cryptography is called a transposition cipher.
Which plays into what cryptography ends up becoming.
And then transposition cipher, what transposition really means is that the letters, positions, or whatever message you have in there only the positions and were rearranged. So like for instance, if an enemy were to have intercepted like one of the Spartans' messages going to wherever, and they were to say like, hey, let's try to read this thing, and they knew enough about that army. Let's say they had it, but they didn't know how to read it quite right because they didn't have the rod to go with. They just had the parchment.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we already know that apparently this is what they do, so let's try it. Well, they would have to spend like, can you imagine the time it would take? You basically start with a log this fucking big around. All right, shave off a centimeter. Shave off a centimeter. Shave. Then you get down, it's actually this big.
Like, yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, dude. And so, the thing is that it was actually extremely simple. Everything I read about it, diving into it, it was actually, they used the KISS method, bro.
Yeah.
They kept it simple, but yet it was extremely effective. So it was simple, fast, and extremely hard to crack without any form of matching tool.
That's fascinating.
Which the matching tool would be the proper size rod.
Tight.
So it was mainly used in military shit.
Well, yeah. So I found out that a lot of these were used in their like quote unquote political spectrum and their wartime spectrum as well.
Yeah.
There was a lot of just trying to get messages across. One thing I always wondered while reading up on this past week was, oh, hey, you good there, Big Dog?
I'm good, dude. You gotta stop burping on camera.
I know. I'm sorry, everybody, for burping on mic.
You baby bird, man.
But would they send fake messages out? Would they send 7 individuals with messages that were fake, and then one with the real one? Would they do?
There is a lot of that going on in almost every military history.
Still today as well, right?
Yeah, you send out false messages, false planted messages, false leaked information about, oh, hey, this is what's carrying
Correct.
this,
So
and then they go and hijack.
That's why
this.
I was wondering if we've been doing the same
Yeah.
thing since the dawn of time, as with the invention of this cryptography-based message system. Were they also smart enough to create a false flag narrative messaging as well?
I have a very simple universal answer to that.
Yes.
Even though, like, basically, as a human species, we have all stuck to this, like, as a human collective, in every culture, society, from beginning of time to now, that we know of, we have all done the same things repeatedly. What changes is what tools we're using.
That's right.
That's it. That's all that changes, is what tools we're using. And now we're in a modern time where we have technology and like all these like advanced technology compared to then, but I'm not going to get into that yet, because I'm going to go into like modern day stuff because it has to do with cybersecurity and all that crap. But at the same time, it has to do with some other things too. There's a lot of underlying tones in there, and I'm excited to get to that part. But I want to go through like the history buildup.
Yeah,
because
please.
the history is like fascinating, dude. Have you ever heard of the Atbash? I think it's called
cipher.
Atbash, right?
I have briefly heard about it. I didn't really investigate this one much.
Now, this one, I did not find a specific date. Pretty much, I wrote this here. I know it's silly that I wrote it.
Biblical era?
Yeah, I just wrote biblical era because that's where it kind of, that's where everything comes up from. It's like during the biblical era time. So,
Ancient Hebrew scriptures.
Yep. So the Atbash cipher was a monoalphabetic substitution method. It flipped the alphabet, so the first letter became the last, and then the second became the second to last, and so on. So in the Hebrew alphabet, Aleph became Tav, Bet became Shin, and then etc. So it's just like it's a very cool cipher. It's and it's also but that one's actually easy to crack. That one's easy to crack compared to the Greeks.
Oh, significantly easier,
Yeah,
right?
because you sit down with your alphabet. If you notice one piece, like if I were to be sitting in front of it right now, and I were to notice one sequence I could figure out of one letter, well, just going through basic problem solving, it's like, well, if that works for that letter, let's try it with every letter.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you find the actual pattern because you're seeing where everything's getting offset. Because if you try it with every letter, even if every letter failed until you get to the second to the last, and it matched to the other one, it's like, oh shit, let's do the same for the next letter. We'll skip way ahead and wrap around. So where would that one end? So if that one's second to last, then this one would be at this position.
Wow, that's confusing.
And then dude, it's like basic math actually to solve it. It's literally using basic math, add and subtract, bro. That's
Yeah,
it.
so A
Boom.
becomes Z, B becomes Y, right?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, no, not in this, not exactly what they're saying, like as in like what the letter placement was, but yes, narratively, that's what they're describing.
Yeah, you just flip around the alphabet backwards and just spell everything backwards.
Spelling backwards, but and then
But minus
yeah,
two.
minus two. Yep, simple as fuck.
It's genius, honestly.
It's genius, but simple, but effective. It was a very,
It works
very effective
very well.
until everyone figured it out.
Well, yeah, just like everything, right? Just like with most technologies, it's gonna work until you figure it out. Because now you have to come up with a new puzzle. Because now everybody knows your puzzle. And I couldn't imagine what ciphers they're using nowadays.
So I have an example. So I was searching for this, and I'm not I'm not some like biblical scholar in any capacity, just so everyone knows. But I did come up with an example. So so the Atbash cipher was not just used for hiding text. So it often encoded names and what they say was divine references, turning ordinary passages into layered messages. So an example would be the book of Jeremiah, the word Sheshach by the seashore is actually a coded form of Babylon. The cipher became an early example pretty much of how religious, like in culture and political ideas were literally hidden just like right in front of your face. Plain sight, man. Like right there in front of your face. Now, I know you were obsessed with this one, so if you want to do this one, you're more welcome to.
Obsessed is not the word I would
You
use.
like this one
I
a
did
lot.
not say obsessed. I said I appreciated it and really liked it. So Julius Caesar is accredited with using a substitution cipher, now known as the Caesar cipher, to encrypt messages for secure communication with his generals. It was possibly the most famous early cipher known to man, right? So he used it to communicate with his generals in the battlefield in a monoalphabetic substitution-based cipher that shifts every letter of the alphabet by a fixed number.
Basically, he improved upon the biblical era one.
Correct. So the Bible,
the
the ancient, the Atbash, yeah. So the ancient Hebrew one, he said, "Oh, Atbash did it really well, but let's make it a little bit better." So he would shift everything by 3 to start with. So it would be A, and in the alphabet that we know now, A is D, B is E, C is F, and so on and so forth, all the way down the line, right? So you have just take everything, shift it by 3. So now his whole language is a whole new language that he has invented. Hello has now become Kur, and so on and so forth. It was very easy to implement because it's a really brief, easy thing to explain to people. Hey, send this message, but every letter plus it by 3 in our alphabet.
Yeah.
No, okay, absolutely.
Well, and that's why I put in my notes of like, let's say the shift is +3, because the shift could change.
Yeah, so
depending on the letter.
Yeah, so he was known to say, move it up 10, and then move it up by 1, move it up by 5, and just every other letter was different.
Yeah, and he did that intentionally because tactically in the battlefield and in military coordination, he would send out orders, right, to all of his guys in whatever remote places that are not in his, centric kingdom that he's located. Send them out, and then the next time he sent a message, he'd be like, "All right, now we're gonna shift by 2.
Yeah,
Or we're gonna shift by 4." So it got shifted. The shift would take place on a whim. So even if someone intercepted that message the first time, if they intercepted the second message that came around, they're not gonna be able to read it because they don't know what the shift is, and they don't even realize there is a shift.
Yeah.
They think they figured it out, and they're like, "Well, sorry, General Bubbles.
How many?
Everything's shifted
General
by like
Bubbles.
it just goes blah, 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 is
So
what it
like,
reads.
think about it. There's 27 letters in the alphabet, right? Or is it 26?
26,
26.
27,
27.
26,
28.
30. Wait, we skipped 2. Wait, yeah, no. It's a good thing I don't make ciphers.
So there's 27 letters in the alphabet, and if and you send 20 messages, there's, what is that, 300 different codes you'd have to crack?
There's 26 letters, bro.
26. Yeah. Over here at Smartly Uneducated, we know the alphabet really well. We're not English majors, all right?
We're not English majors.
We're not nerds.
Don't rope me into this, dude.
So yeah, there's 26. Don't rope you into this. You said there was 28.
I said 26.
You said 30.
You said 25, and I was like, no, there's 26. And then you're like, 27? I'm like, yeah. Why not?
So there's 20. So fine, whatever. There's 26 letters in the alphabet. Whoop-de-doo, you fucking nerds. We all get it. You're cool. You're smart. Good job. Do you want to do this show?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different opportunities for change in the cipher. Especially if we send it to 6 different generals, the line can change repeatedly down the line for forever and ever and ever. And it could be 1 number, 5 numbers, 26 numbers, 4 numbers, forever and ever, which is very impressive, especially if you use an odd number, because then it just gets more and more convoluted.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this one, and I want to use this in my day-to-day life to confuse my family. Whenever I make my grocery list, my milk is going to be an insane word.
Well, you left out one fundamental, very key detail about the Caesar
Dressing.
cipher. Dude, with dressing on the side, dude. One of the key things was that this introduced the very first concept of a shared key.
Yes.
Which plays
right.
into, it literally set the foundation for all the encryption we do today because of shared keys.
That's right.
They're the first ones to ever do one.
Damn.
Yeah, dude, you skipped right over that note.
That is like the most important part about the entire conversation here, because we will get into the higher technological ones that we are using today for you to type the letter A.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so thank you, Caesar and the Romans, for creating this, because this started off on the right foot. On the right foot?
Whoop. You're turning into Conor McGregor, dude.
On the right foot there? Fuck you, mate, eh? Hard, matey.
No, now you're a pirate. So the other one, hey, here's another Greek one. It's called the Polybius Square. And this was from 2nd century BCE. So this is still long-ass time ago. So the Greek historian Polybius developed a system to encode text using a 5x5 grid, placing each letter at the intersection of a row and a column.
Do you think they got smarter now? Do you think this is when the turn of the century of intelligence happened?
I don't know. I'm still going through that. I don't know. I know as much as the viewers do right now. Actually, no, I actually don't know. I
thought there was 28 letters.
I have a whole bunch of information here that if I open that can of worms right now, that's all I'm going to talk about.
All right, 10-4.
That's the only reason why I was like, I'm going to focus on that.
I was hoping that you would hint at something. Like, maybe, Evan, we'll find out later.
I felt like I did that.
Maybe, Evan, we'll find out later.
Fuck. I hate you so much right now. Placing each letter at the intersection of a row and a column. So the Latin alphabet was adapted to this, which fit this grid, usually merging I and J into one box. So each letter was replaced by its coordinate pair. So for example, if A equals 11, B equals 12, C equals 13, so on and so forth. But this cipher wasn't just for hiding information, it was also a practical communication tool. So the coordinates could be sent through torches, drums, and other signaling methods, making it one of the first systems to literally bridge cryptography and signaling into one.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's fucking wild.
So
it's awesome.
I think it's awesome. I think this is whenever the humans got a little bit smarter.
Yeah. Yes. Everyone kept getting smarter.
Following this like cryptography based concept, you can tell that the intelligence started growing and growing and growing at a pretty rapid rate at one point.
Yep. Yeah, it just kept going.
Are you pointing at this one because you want me to read it?
Oh, I was gonna say if you want to try to say this word name. I have my own take on it, but I'll let you do it.
I cannot wait to hear your take. But the Visionary cipher, jumping to the Renaissance, we get to the Visionary cipher, often called the indecipherable cipher for hundreds of years. Though versions existed before him, it was named after Blaise de Vigenère, who refined it. This was a polyalphabetic substitute cipher, much like the Caesar cipher and the ones before it. You use a keyword to determine different shifts for each letter in the message. For example, using keyword key, K, you would then shift it by 10, and E you would shift it by 4, and Y you would shift it by 24. So then plain text that hello would be encrypted letter by letter using shifted patterns that repeated the keyword. This made frequent analysis the main method of breaking simple ciphers much less effective. I don't understand this one.
Yeah, this one ups the ante in the conceptualizing the narrative
Yes.
of it. It ups the ante of it.
I know that you would have to be using some sort of locking mechanism that you would have to turn some sort of knob or press some buttons or move things around.
So basically, the way I looked at this, in order for me to like wrap my head around it, was every letter shifts has its own independent shift method.
Well, yeah.
That's the only way I see it. That was the only way I could I had to start with that, saying those words in my head, to then wrap my head around the concept of creating that.
But is it based off of like I said a moment ago, a locking mechanism? Because if it's just on paper, it seems pretty easy to crack.
Yeah, no, they used a deal for it. Like you had to have a tool,
like a Rubik's Cube, if you will.
Yeah,
something similar to that, right?
It was you had to have a tool to actually decipher this thing.
I thought so,
but you also had to understand the shift too.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's where. Yeah. Now, you guys can. I mean, hell, I'll pull up a picture of it right now if you guys want.
Do it. Do it.
Yeah. You do. Yeah. You do. I'll let you talk.
Oh, okay.
About the Visioneer or other cool stuff.
Other cool things. I'm teaching my son how to drive. There's not much that's pretty cool to talk about right now, other than the visionary cipher. Plain text hello, keyword key, repeat the keyword, extend the keyword, match the line, blah, 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 blah. So each letter in the plain text is shifted by the corresponding letter of the keyword using such things like the Caesar cipher.
You're going to hate me.
Yeah, why?
You're going to hate me so much.
Why?
I'm going to share the screen.
It's also a table. Oh, it's a table.
It's a crossword puzzle.
You're no fucking way it's a crossword puzzle.
Yeah. Sorry, that's why I didn't want to. I thought you were going to. I was about to tell you that earlier, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pull up a picture and be like, it's a crossword puzzle. I thought that'd be funnier.
These things are my nemesis.
Yeah, dude, it's basically like a crossword puzzle.
That's awesome.
Or it looks like, it gives the vibe of one. It looks like one that you would normally see, and that's how you would, so they would send out this. See how all the letters are shifted?
Yeah.
How everything's all kind of like, it's just, consistently go wrap. It will always wrap and keep going. And the first, yeah. So they all, and the thing is, if you look closely at this one, actually, let me pull this into a new tab, and then I will zoom in a little bit so you guys can see it. If you look closely, so if you look at the top row, not the very top, but the one, the second row down, how it has A, and then there's A, it goes A, B, C, D, E, F.
Yeah.
And then B goes B, B, C, D, E, E, F, right?
Yep.
So no matter what, the second column always starts as if, it goes off of the independent wraparound from, not the
this is
border
actually
row
awesome.
and column. Yeah, it always wraps, but you always.
So how would you say the word
down.
high?
I don't know. I didn't try these things out. I'm just telling you how it was going.
It was called the unbreakable cipher at one point. So hey, look at this.
Yeah. No, it's very cool. It's very cool.
Imagine mixing different alphabets with that. Like you would have the Roman, Greek alphabets mixed into there. That would make it really difficult to crack.
It would. That'd be weird. I don't like that. I don't want to be a part of that.
It'd be like K plus 10 and then umlaut V plus 4. Like what the hell?
Oh, I know, right? Okay, so then
stenography is cool.
Yeah, then there's the steganography. That's what it is, steganography. In the Middle Ages, while cryptography hides the meaning, steganography hides the existence of the message.
And this is when we get cool.
Yeah, dude. So in medieval Europe, people began basically embedding secret messages within innocuous-looking texts, paintings, or books. Sounds a lot like stuff people do in malware nowadays.
Sounds a lot like the Marvel framework.
You embed code and within an image, things like that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so the methods they used then were like invisible ink, made from lemon juice or milk.
Delicious.
Messages written under layers of paint or behind wax seals.
Yeah.
And then, of course, acrostics and poems that revealed words using the first letters of each line.
So awesome.
Yeah, it's an interesting method. I'll tell you that.
I knew about this because I studied art for a little while growing up, and that's why I can learn how to oil paint and draw and all this stuff. I took one of these classes at a museum, and they would X-ray paintings because a lot of these artists were so poor that they couldn't afford new canvases all the time, so they would paint on it, and the canvas would be so shitty, and they hated the painting that they would just paint over it and start again.
Yeah.
So they would X-ray these paintings and find like 8 different paintings underneath the one that you would see in the museum.
Really?
Yeah, and so that became like a really popular thing to do with finding hidden art. So this concept of finding hidden messages underneath art doesn't really seem that far-fetched to me. Especially if you do it in a different ink or a different texture. Like imagine in the trees, you can write a message in the trees. If you use clay underneath the canvas to write boobs, and then you paint over that, and you can still see the word boobs, but it's blended in a little bit better.
I love that, dude. That's the greatest message in history. I hope that's what they found below the pyramids and all those structures and columns. They're going to get down there. They're going to figure it out and be like, dude, this is a chamber of boobs.
It's just full of pornography. Like, oh, shit.
Hieroglyphicography.
These aliens are fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it's like hieroglyphic pornography. It's going to be every line, every hieroglyphic going across is a different, like, oh, this hieroglyphic represents the ankle.
Oh my God, whoever created this was a horrific person.
Or they just really like boobs. That's more than likely what it was, guys.
Let's be nice to these aliens. We don't know what they liked or what they didn't like.
Yeah, I'm going to skim through the rest of these couple ones, except for...
Because there's a lot of examples. That's what I came across. There's a plethora of examples.
Yeah, there's one here that I'll walk through once, just because this is where the cipher disk becomes comes into existence. So
The Renaissance.
yeah, so Alberti, Trithemius, and Porta, which is 15th to 17th centuries, the Renaissance saw cryptography explode in a whole bunch of complexity and elegance, apparently.
Dude, we lost elegance in our names. My name is Evan. I want to be Trithesimus. That's so sick.
It's tight, dude. But yeah, the Renaissance saw cryptography explode, in complexity. So Leon Battista Alberti, often called the father of Western cryptography, invented the cipher disk. It was literally a physical tool for generating polyalphabetic substitution ciphers.
Yeah, you could spin it.
Yeah, you could spin it around, do all that fun stuff. And then that was followed by Johannes, however you say that, or Johannes. Pocahontas, Trithemius, who created progressive ciphering techniques. Each letter was encrypted using a different substitution rule.
Yep.
Yeah.
It looks just like you would imagine. It's one large disk and one smaller disk, and you can just spin it.
I'll pull it up.
And they match up accordingly. So you would have symbols and letters that then would mean something to you or based off of a rubric that you have. Very cool. Yeah, this is a huge turning point yet again. As I mentioned earlier, every single sort of cryptographic concept that was invented made a turning point for intelligence-based hiding and message sending.
Yeah, it looks like this is a do these pictures look right? I'm gonna pop this up there. So
yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah, it's basically
absolutely
like a disc.
Yep.
With all the letters on there and it like shifts around and all that stuff.
Looks familiar, huh?
Yeah, dude. Like a sundial.
They used it
but for letters.
In the Union Army,
Just
the
kidding.
Confederate Army. They used it during the Cold War, the Civil War, Vietnam War.
They've been using it a long time, man.
Yeah, they still use it.
They used it in the Da Vinci Code.
I use one of these to figure out how my wife talks. Am I right?
Dude, I've been trying the same thing and it's still not side deciphering. I'm just like, I don't know how you're really feeling right now. You
Turns-
said you're hungry, but you're not hungry. You don't want to tell me where you want to eat.
Turns out a woman invented cryptography because we can never figure out what they have to say. Am I right, boys?
Am I right, boy? Oh my god. Oh my gosh. So yeah. Anyways, I wanted to mention that one, but let's move on.
Moving on.
The last one I put on here for leading up to modern time was cryptography in the American Revolution.
Okay, very cool.
So cryptography and how it played a role in the American fight for, America's fight for independence. Both sides used a mix of different ciphers and code books and steganography. The Patriots, though, used nomenclators, which combined ciphers and code words for names, cities, and events. So not only did they not put the real message in there fully, they substituted, like if they were talking about a particular city, it had a code name that no one knew.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you listening, it's nomenclatures instead of nomenclators.
Dude, I'm really bad about enunciating words about other things.
So good.
You put me in front of anything tech related, I got you. But you put me in front of that, nah, that's words.
Nomenclators.
Dude. That's letters, dude. Dude, I like nomenclators way better. I
want to know how they used invisible ink, because I can go buy an invisible ink pen right now, and I had to shine a black light on it to see it. They didn't have electricity back then, brother. How do they got black lights to see what color the ink is and what it has to say, Ben? Can you tell me that, dude?
It wasn't nice because it said boobs on the clay.
Nice.
It did have but it did relied on invisible ink, dual layered letters, a public message on top, and then of course they would put a hidden one underneath. And then they built tools like Thomas Jefferson's cipher wheel,
Classic.
which is a device using rotating discs. So
Yeah,
instead of it being a dial on the ground with things like rotated around, it was something handheld, and you would rotate it like this. You'd be like, oh, let me figure out this cipher there, and all that fun stuff.
It does. It looks like a bunch of wafers.
It looks like a bunch of vanilla wafers, dude. What? I love
This is
vanilla
actually
wafers.
genius. Holy cow. How could you get anything figured out? This is so many letters.
Yeah, here, I'm going to put it on the screen. So this is the cipher wheel, guys. Look at all those vanilla wafers, dude. All stacked up. Dude, now I want to go buy some vanilla wafers, dude. Like, straight up. I love vanilla
Straight
wafers.
up on God for real, no cap, dude.
Yeah, dude. That right there looks like a Ritz cracker.
It does.
Dude, I'm getting hungry. I didn't know Thomas Jefferson was going to make me hungry a long time after his death.
100 or whatever it is.
Yeah, however long it's been since his death, man.
Yeah,
Precise time.
I find it fascinating, though, right? In all honesty, the fact that these individuals can come up with such seriously hidden messages and ways to break it is very cool to me.
Yeah.
And they could have just gone to go talk to somebody. Nobody's going to hear it. There's no technology to hear what you're saying. They don't have to speak in riddles.
Yep.
The easiest way to get around sending a message is just talk to the person. Unfortunately, in our day and age, we can't really do that because there's cameras and phones and everything listening to us. So it would make sense to have some sort of cipher,
It would.
right?
It would. I'm pulling this one real quick so we can show people.
What are you pulling?
I'll show you.
Pulling my leg?
No, it's because we're about to go into modern day,
Yeah.
the stuff now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I want to make sure I have this one particular thing up.
Because in our day and age, everything is at lightning speed. Everything is able to be associated with either a good thing or bad thing in a moment's notice.
Mm-hmm.
That started in like 1970.
Yeah.
This is when they came around with the modern age cryptography based key system, or but known as cryptographic hashing or things of that sort.
Yeah.
Right. This stuff is a little beyond my brain, although it is a reason why we are trying to bring some more education and more light to this concept, because you use it every single moment of your day without even realizing it.
Yep.
Everything you interact with on your phone has cryptography in it.
You send in text messages.
Cryptography. It's cryptic.
Yep.
It's
Encrypted.
Yeah. Hey, that's where the word encryption comes from, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's how that works.
Yeah, because
That's
you said
awesome.
cryptic.
Yeah.
And I was like, cryptids in my head, but then I was like, there's
the
no
chupacabra.
dude, there's no frog dude with a human body and a frog head
I love that
in
dude.
there.
Hey.
I love that dude too. We need to do another episode on cryptids.
I want that frog guy to come back. He was awesome.
He was awesome. But let's talk about modern day cryptography, because I'm gonna share. made some examples to show you guys. So, so I know. So in modern day, everything we're using is all computer based. It's
Yeah.
all our modern day technology compared to back then, where it was all quite a bit different. That we know of. Ooh, where's the X-Files theme when you need it, dude?
That's
so
X-Files.
basically, so cryptography overall isn't just about like security. It's literally about power. That's all it is. Because if you can control the information, you control everything.
All right, episode's over.
Dude,
It's about power.
boom. We just solved the case. Government did it. What? The government did it, dude. I swear to
They
God.
killed JFK.
But no, in today's society, like what we use now, why don't we just show you real world examples
Yeah, please.
on all
yeah,
of it?
Absolutely.
So when data is encrypted, it transforms into basically a scrambled mess that looks like a bunch of nonsense to anyone without the correct decryption key. So this ensures that even if the data is intercepted, stolen, or leaked, it remains unreadable or to unauthorized parties. So
and
let me share
this is
my
how
screen.
this is how they will be able to sneak messages across borders to people.
And these are my notes you're all about to see. This is the stuff I typed up. So
Whoa, why is it white?
I had to save it as a fucking PDF, so that way it was popped up in my browser that I have captured. At gunpoint. Sorry. Dude,
In
my laptop
bed.
didn't even stand a chance, dude. And it's in the Edge browser too. It's living life on the edge, dude. Sorry. Anyways, I'll
getting
stop. I'll stop. You got me goofy. Your goofiness is like still there, but it's fading down. But mine's
Oh no,
starting
my
to ramp
goofy's
up.
still here. I'm just trying
Okay,
to
good.
I'm trying to wean off it so that we get on the topic better.
Okay, so let's look at this. So let's say you send a message in plain text and says, meet me at the warehouse 11 p.m. Now, depending on the form of encryption you're using, so in this example, I'm using AES 256, which is Advanced Encryption Standard 256-bit. And so it transforms it into this encrypted message, which looks like all of this right
Just
here.
a jumbled string of nothing.
Jumbled. So without the correct decryption key, this message is completely blah. You can't read it, and if someone intercepts it and all that stuff, it's just gonna look like a bunch of like random looking data number, just a jumbled mess.
Yeah.
They're not gonna know. And so because it's only intended for the person who's going to, like, they're the only one who has the other side of that key that would allow someone to be able to read it. And all that fun stuff. So I wanted to show that example. I do have another example. Now, obviously, I've got my notes here still up where you guys can see it, but like passwords being stored, right? So
Super secure password.
yeah, dude, you like my choice of a password example?
I do. It's very
it's
funny.
so freaking secure. But here's an example using SHA-256, which is secure hash algorithm. It turns into, voila, this jumbledness.
That's right.
Right here. This hash is what actually would get stored in like some websites, like database on the back end. That's what's sitting there.
Cool.
So like, yeah. And so, but anyways, those are my two of the examples I wanted to give you guys, just so you can see it for modern time of what we use right around now. So now there are different types of cryptography though. There's three major types in modern time.
Please enlighten me, because I know that they're getting more and more frequent and more in depth as we learn more about them.
Yeah. So there is symmetric encryption, which is one key, asymmetric encryption, which is two keys, and then public and private. So it's two keys, one's public and one's private.
Yep.
And then the third one is hashing, and it's one-way encryption. So symmetric encryption, one, for example, it is when one single key is used to both encrypt and decrypt the data. So So how it works, you lock a file with a key or, encryption, right? The recipient unlocks the file using the exact same key to unlock it, the same decipher, right? Exactly the same, verbatim. It's used, and this is where it's used in modern time. So this is why it's really fucking important. Your passwords are not easy to figure out. Be easy to decrypt.
Absolutely. So it'd be like your password is the letter A.
Yep.
And in order to get into it, you have to type in A.
Or another really bad, here's a real life example. A lot of people on their Wi-Fi's will put, I don't know, maybe their birth year in there.
Yep.
With their first name with a capital, like let's say their name is John, be capital J and John, every other letter is lowercase, and then their birth date. It's like that someone could do a brute force attack on that eventually and get in. They ended up figuring it out.
It'd be relatively simple.
Yeah. And so where it's used, though, is they use it in Wi-Fi security, which is WPA2 and WPA3. They use it in hard drive encryption, so like BitLocker, File Vault, all that. And then banking transactions.
That's right.
That bothers me.
Yeah. Our banking industry is in is in the Stone Age in comparative to our technology nowadays.
Oh, yeah. It bothers me that they're using symmetric encryption for my
It's insane, isn't it? It's
Dude,
absolutely insane.
if I had some form of power or sway in this world, I'd be like cracking down on the banks about that bullshit. I'd be like, no, you need to update your shit immediately. This is dog poo.
We need at least SHA-256 minimum.
Minimum. So now modern symmetric encryption algorithms. So AES, which was the advanced encryption standard, the 256. So AES 256-bit. It's used by governments and banks to protect data. Blowfish and Twofish used in VPNs and some encrypted messaging apps.
Which is better.
Yeah.
It's better.
Yeah, it's a little bit better. Now, asymmetric encryption, public key, which is public key cryptography, right? So asymmetric encryption uses the two separate keys. So you have the public key, you have the private key. So the public key is anyone can see it, and it's used to encrypt data. But the private key is only the recipient has that, and it's used for,
Sending and receiving.
yeah, for being able to decrypt it when they receive it.
This is a lot of you cryptocurrency nerds out there will know this one pretty well. You have your public key that everybody can see your store of value or whatever, and the private key that you keep to yourself on a flash drive hidden away in your butthole or something, just snuck away somewhere nobody can ever find.
Right in my butthole, dude. I got like 8 USB drives in there, dude.
Hey, I'm a computer. Stop all the
I'm
downloading.
keeping it safe, dude. No one's gonna come and rob my house and be like, "Where's the encryption?" They would never think I put it up my butt.
Speaking of, do you know who Amaranth is? She's she's a Twitch hot tub streamer. She wears bikinis, sits in a hot tub all day.
No, I don't watch streamers.
That's fine.
You're like, that's fine, dude. You don't want to watch this shit.
Yeah, you really don't. But she got apparently robbed the other year, and they were running around her house.
Oh, is that the person who I saw the video of?
Yeah.
Where she runs to her like boyfriend or husband
And shoots, yeah.
and he shoots at him.
They're like, "Where's your crypto? Give us your keys." That's so fucking funny to me.
Well, why would you publicly go and like give away that information and say like, "Yeah, I got all this thing," dude? Like, you're gonna get robbed. That's like me putting on my front lawn an actual like authentic photograph of all the money that's in a safe that I may have inside buried in my
Exactly right,
house or
exactly
somewhere in my
right.
house, and I goes, "Oh, and here's half the combo.
Yeah.
Oh, here's where the key the safe is located
And
up here.
that's
though.
why I keep mine in my butt.
The whole safe, dude. It's a gun safe too for rifles.
That's
They can
amazing.
hold 40.
I'm telling you right now, boy, I got a 15-foot cavity in there. I can shove it.
What you guys don't realize is that we're having to use the jumbotron screen for Evan's camera because he's that big.
I'm actually massive, dude.
A massive dude.
I'm sitting like 50 feet back from Ben.
I'm so big. The problem is there's not another female on the planet that is the size of me. I'm like a skyscraper. So you know what I end up having to fuck? Volcanoes. It's the only thing that's got a hole.
Oh, hachi machi, and it's hot. I'm covered in scales, baby. I'm telling you right now.
What are you, fucking lizard? Dragon? Oh, you're a dragon.
Well, you gotta watch out for the lava that comes out of that thing whenever it busts, dude.
Dude, the way you said lava. Lava?
I bust, it burns, baby.
No wonder we have so many volcanoes erupt. It's because the giant just went over and tried to fuck it. It caused a little back pressure, bro. And now we know what happened to Pompeii. They shouldn't have been so cool with the giants. You should have put up signs saying no fucking allowed around the volcano.
Not this hole.
Dude, that's the back door. The Earth had been eating some fucking Taco Bell, dude.
Does Earth have a pussy?
It's got a lot of assholes, dude.
Earth pussy? Where's that
I
at?
guess volcanoes are more like pimples on an Earth.
Yeah, they pop and send out pus.
Ew.
Anyway, where were we?
Dude, I don't know. Wi-Fi security?
I don't know. Wi-Fi. How to keep your Wi-Fi safe, ladies and gentlemen. PSA from Smartly Uneducated.
Oh my gosh. I think we're on public and private key.
On how it works right here. You send an encrypted email.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is for the asymmetric encryption. You send an encrypted email using the recipient's public key. Only the recipient who has the matching private key can decrypt it and read it. Plain and simple. That's an asymmetric encryption. Now it's used in email encryption, digital signatures, cryptocurrency wallets, all that. Now modern, like the asymmetric encryption algorithms. So RSA, I'm not gonna lie.
Please do it.
No,
Do it.
please don't.
No, you have to.
Revest, Shamir, Edelman.
You got it in one, dude.
I did it.
You got it.
That was
in
right,
one.
dude.
Nomenclator.
High five. Hey, Eiffel Tower. Anyways,
Nomenclator.
nomenclators, dude. Now, RSA is used in HTTPS, secure logins, and VPNs. Elliptic curve cryptography, ECC, more secure than RSA, used in Bitcoin and government encryption. So let's move on to hashing. So hashing is one-way encryption, can't be reversed. So hashing is used for verifying data integrity, storing passwords, blockchain security. Unlike encryption, hashing is irreversible. So once data is hashed, it's done, dude.
Yeah, it's done it's one time.
It's done, dude.
One time,
and
done
how
time.
it works, you hash your stuff and you can't log in again.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm just kidding.
Pretty much.
I know. I was just trying to be dumb. So a password or file is converted into a unique fixed length hash. If even one tiny detail changes, the hash is completely different.
Yeah, absolutely. You better lock in.
Does that apply to smoking hash?
I mean, how much you smoking?
I don't know, man. I'd probably start seeing numbers float out of my brain if I smoked enough of it.
It's a beautiful mind.
Dude, I'd be that meme walking around. You guys aren't on the level I am, so you can't see it. But I'd be like that meme walking around when it's like the epiphany moment. It's like, oh, and all the freaking math starts floating out of the head into the screen. Yeah, dude, that'd be me. That's me hashing, dude. Ooh, that's a new trend. I'm just hashing, dude.
Dude, I'm just over here hashing so much. I'm hashed out of my mind, bro. I'm hashed up. You can't even tell me what hash is anymore. You got any hash browns for my hashing?
Dude, you won me at hash browns.
I got my hashish and my hashasha. I'm losing the script here now, but I'm hashed up, bashed up.
I didn't know we were on a script, but I love it. I love the enthusiasm. It's cool. Yeah.
What's it like to have enthusiasm? My brain. Here we go.
But yeah, so one tiny detail changes, the hash is completely different. Now, password storage, blockchain security, digital fingerprints, or for like data verification, all of that is done with hashing. Now, modern day hashing algorithms is SHA-256.
Yep.
Used in Bitcoin mining and password hashing. And then you've got Bcrypt and Argon 2.
Argon 2 is cool.
Used for secure password storage. Now, let's move forward. So I want to talk about dude, there is straight up a war going on right now over cryptography of privacy kind of versus surveillance.
Oh, yeah.
It's a huge war. And I know me and you talk about this kind of narrative a lot. on and off camera.
The government does
You
not
know?
want you to have your privacy based
No.
around your technology and the things you do. They specifically do not want you to have that. And because they are afraid that you're going to be able to hide things from them.
Yep.
And all the private sector companies are like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
You don't need to know what I'm looking up at all times.
And a callback to earlier, it's not about making sure someone can't read a message you have. It's
I
all
can't
about,
read
it's all
anyway.
about control. It's all about power.
Yeah.
That's all this is about. That, at the end of the day, cryptography is about power. That's what it's turned into. It's about if you can control the information, you can control everyone.
And the Hebrews knew that. The Hebrewians? The Hebrews? The Hebrews.
I think that would be right.
Hebrews? They knew about it.
Hebrews, dude.
They knew that. That's why they sort of invented the hardest to figure out ciphers. That
Yeah.
and Caesar as well.
Yeah. I love Caesar dressing, dude. You got me thinking about food earlier.
I'm always
I
hungry.
keep thinking about those Ritz cracker
those
cipher
people,
wheels.
those people who are like always tired.
Yeah.
I'm always hungry, baby. I can always eat something.
Yeah, dude, I'm always hungry too. I love food.
Hey, can I get a snack?
That's
my grok.
Anyway, so
do you think Elon made Grok based off of that character from Emperor's New Groove?
I don't know.
He's like, hey, yeah, I can look up anything you need.
I can look up anything you need.
I'm an AI.
You're the first time you did that impression before we started doing the
Cusco.
episode. You sounded very much like you actually sounded almost exactly like him, but as you've continued to do it randomly, it's turned more into like this caricatured version of Crunk.
Hey, did you say? Did you say grunk?
Crunk.
Grunk.
K with a K.
Crunk.
Get crunk,
I
dude.
thought his name was.
It's Kronk. That's his name, not Crunk.
I thought it was Grok.
You remember that shit? Get crunk.
Yeah,
back in the day?
absolutely.
I-
Little John, dude, he got crunk.
Yeah. I never got behind that saying.
I used to get crunk, dude. I used to crunk my shit in bed.
I used to get drunk, dude. I used to get drunk in bed too. Wait, that's depressing.
I used to crank
dude.
my shit. Wait, I used to
That's
crunk,
cranking.
I used to
Crunking.
crunk my shit all the
Crunking
time.
is like crunk, dude. You're crunking it when it means it's painful.
To who?
It's like a crunk isn't a dunk, dude.
I mean, I was born on.
You're
never
dunking
mind.
it? What are you dunking it in? I have to know these things now. The people need to know.
I'm dunking it in ice
Look at the-
water. It's my morning
there you go.
routine.
I'm trying to train it to where when I dunk it, it never even touches the water.
I'm training for ice bath,
I'm
dude.
teaching my lower parts to know when to auto retract before the inevitable cold. That's what you're telling me right now. You're just like walking around with a big old pitcher of ice water. You're just like, are you ready? Oh, you weren't ready for that.
It's time to dunk, idiots.
Sorry, little dude. You got to be on your toes.
Stop sagging so much. Get
Wait.
back up.
Not be on your toes. Be on your balls, dude.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
You
What
yeah.
I'm doing with the ice water, though,
Yeah.
Ben, I'm training for ice baths.
On
It's the worst part is getting your balls down. So just training. So.
Yeah, dude, they just hike right up there. Who knows the cold coming? It's like, ho, sloop. I'm a girl.
No, I'm castrated. It's a difference.
Oh, you're an eunuch, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. That's cool. Actually, I have met someone who's missing his nuts. Not because they thought they were a girl, though.
They didn't have that woke mind liberal virus, dude. They didn't have that liberal virus that was implanted into them with the microchips from the C-19 vaccinication, dude.
Vaccinate.
I can't say that V word. We're gonna get banned on YouTube.
Vagina. Is that better? Oh, wait, no, you're talking about the other V word.
Yeah.
Vagina.
No,
Oh.
no, I can say vagina. I'll
So,
tell you.
okay, so no va or va. Vagina.
Who do you know that has no balls?
He was on the old platform.
Oh, very funny.
you
That's
remember-
very funny.
You remember that you met him?
I did not know he had no balls.
Yeah, dude.
Why would I ask? I don't ask men about their balls.
He's a vet, and he went through a thing.
That's still very funny.
It's funny hearing him talk about it because he drops that shit out of nowhere just to see your expressions, just to fuck with you. He's just like, yeah, by the way, I got no fucking balls, dude.
And no testosterone because of it. Damn
Hey, you want to see some pictures after the procedure?
Oh,
He doesn't actually show anything. I think the last time he did that, he did it to my wife's brother-in-law, and he had a meme that said "you're gay" when he looked at the phone. But he really did not have any balls, though. He got them removed because of medical issues.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I oftentimes don't ask other men about their testicles. So
I didn't ask him. He just announced it.
that's an awesome thing to do to
He
somebody.
did it intentionally too. Like,
What a way to
Get a good
ruin
laugh.
Christmas dinner.
dude, it was a great laugh though, because he embarrassed my brother-in-law. We made him go what? You know, thought he was coming onto him or something.
I wonder if he gets kicked in the nuts if it still hurts.
I don't know. If you kick a chick in the front butt, I'm pretty sure it still hurts.
The what?
The front butt,
The
dude.
what? Come again?
The front part. Do we need to go over the female anatomy?
The-
You got the dirty pillows, front butt.
You lost me.
I got lost too. Anyways, let's get back to cryptography.
The
'Cause
front butt.
I can tell you right now, finding the clitoris is basically a woman's cryptography at birth.
Finding the clearance? Where?
The clitoris.
How do I lay in this plane? Where's the clearance?
Dude, I can see it now. If you guys want to make it like a feminine, like a pro-feminine movie, some like, whatever, instead of like the female journals or some stupid name, just title it Finding the Clitoris. And have it be nothing about that at all.
Well, I mean, yeah.
It'd be great,
It'd
dude.
probably be par for the course of
It'd
the
actually
movie.
be a really good title for the movie. Dude, I'm on to something here.
I'm going to name my next book that. Finding the clitoris, and it's going to be about my dilemma not knowing how to cook.
Dude, and then part 2 is going to be Finding the Clitoris, and then it's going to say, in very tiny text underneath with a little line, it's going to say, and running away. Finding the clitoris, then running away.
It's going to
dude.
say, found it.
I hate you so much. Anyways, let's get back on topic. I'm sure no one's listening anymore. So why governments want to break encryption? Well, the FBI and NASA want encryption backdoors so they can access private buttholes.
Okay.
Just kidding. They want to access private data. So privacy advocates argue that backdoors weaken security for everyone. I mean, yeah.
I'll tell you what,
it does,
bud.
dude.
I'll tell you what, dude.
If someone came and got me in the butt, dude.
I'll tell you what, a backdoor to danger.
My security means, dude, it's behind me. How am I supposed to, like, shoot them? They're behind me. I'm being restrained. My security's compromised, dude. He's dropping facts. Dude, I think I just figured this whole thing out,
Including hackers.
Keep camera on you for a little bit. Anyway. Yeah.
The Apple versus FBI case 2016 iPhone encryption battle. The FBI wanted Apple to create a backdoor to unlock an iPhone belonging to a terrorist. Apple said no. They refused, saying it would be setting a dangerous precedent. This sparked a global debate on privacy versus national security.
It's like, holy shit. When did we get into piracy, dude? Yar.
I mean, they're blowing
Give me
up-
your encryption keys.
They're
Yar.
blowing up all the hooties.
Dude, I can see it now. Some other stupid, what was that streamer's name again?
Amaran.
Amaman?
Nope. That's a woman. Amaranth.
Amaranth. That streamer person.
Continue.
Can you imagine? I can see it now, dude. Instead of like just a bunch of hoodlums who obviously are idiots and don't know what they're doing, trying to rob her. All of a sudden, just in the middle of the night, you hear going, and all of a sudden you're like, "What the fuck is that?" And you open your window, and there's a fucking pirate ship just tearing up your fucking street in your neighborhood, and you see the fucking ropes and the fucking rope ladders dropping down. Yarr! Everyone's in pirate
the
outfits.
anthem to Pirates of the
Oh.
Caribbean turns on.
Dude. Dude, I'd be like, oh shit. Dude, I'm not gonna lie, I'd probably go right to the microwave and make popcorn. Because, dude, there's nothing better than seeing pirates be pirates, dude.
That'd be hilarious.
Oh, they plunder booties, though. Never mind. I'm going for my gun.
Something about booties. That's scary. I've got to tell you. So it's just something
No one's
about
ever
it.
gonna watch us again
I
after this.
can't put my finger on it
What?
or in it. It's saying,
Is it because you couldn't find it?
yeah, but the
Because you had to write a book about it? Go finding the clitoris?
yeah, well, I found it.
Well, part 2's coming out eventually.
Full circle, baby.
Found it.
And that's how you tell jokes to everybody. Welcome to this podcast.
Yeah, it was a
Marlin
build-up.
Educated.
This is all a build-up.
Hey,
Legit.
if you have made it this far, kudos. Seriously, that's impressive. We're rambling nonsense lunatics over here, unable to stay on topic.
Listen, in our defense, it's Sunday. We are like, I don't know what's up with today. I just felt goofy. I've been so excited to talk about this all week. And now we're doing it. And it's just like everything I read now, it's just like one bad joke after another. And I just want to, that runs through my head.
Yeah.
Things that are stupid. And it's just like,
And you're all having to hear it. So
and I remembered now that I'm probably just stupid. That's why. Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, so if you've made it this far, thank you so much. We do have an email, smartlandeducated@gmail.com. If you want to call us at 469-659-7364, it is a real phone number. You can call us right now. Tell us how stupid we are.
Yeah.
That'd be hysterical.
I'm looking at it right now.
It's real. So with all that said, thank you so much to our sponsors, Bad Cat Studio over in North Carolina, for cool merch and cool things like that. Thank you to Dustin Beck and David Southerner for the song that we have for the theme song, the intro, whatever it is, Ship of Theseus.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to all of our authors who've been on the show, who have given us books and all the books that we've had. Big shout out to Olivia James and R.H.
Yep.
Disco and all of our guests that we've had on in the past.
Speaking of which, we've got both of them coming back on, right?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. What was the date for
Ryan?
Disco? Yeah,
April 4th.
April 4th. So just shortly after that, not even 10 days later, we're going to have Olivia James back on, and we're going to be doing another lengthy episode and get into some specifics on some things.
Very cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Hope you all like the Olivia James episode that comes out.
This upcoming Thursday.
Yeah, this Thursday, but this episode's going to come out after that. So that is on
Well, we're live streaming right now, so anyone watching.
March 20th is when it comes out. So those of you in the podcast world listening after the fact of the live, because this is deleted, mad respect. Hello, what's up?
Mad respect, yes. So let's move on. So yeah, I know you already touched on the Apple versus FBI case.
Yeah,
right?
I don't really know how I feel about the concept of giving away encryption to individuals. I think it really does rely on the actual act or crime that was committed.
Yeah.
That we may need the data.
Yeah, like it would make sense to me if there was a terrorist who actually, for sure, it was documented, it was known, this person did a legitimate terrorist act. Yeah, Apple, give them the fucking shit. This is
Correct.
different.
Correct.
This is different in that case. But if it's just an average Joe or for a fucking parking ticket, well, the government can fuck right the fuck off.
Oh, absolutely. If they're like, hey, we want to have all individuals who live in Oklahoma's phone so we can get into their phones and see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
No, can't do that. Sorry. Nope, not happening.
Yep.
But hey, Ezekiel Mendez murdered 15 people in this club. Can we have his phone data? Yeah, I think that's okay. I think you should have his phone data. Fuck that guy.
Yeah. That's a Debbie Downer situation right there.
I mean, it's real
I'm
life,
talking
dude.
about the act of what he did.
This shit happens all the time.
It does. It's just natural. Death. It happens. Anyways, moving on. So the future of cryptography. So quantum computing.
I've heard this argument a lot.
Yeah, right now the idea is that quantum computing could break all existing encryption within decades. Like the moment that they take up this, in which they already are. They're all working on this quantum computing crap right now behind closed doors.
Oh yeah, and they're trying to find encryption keys for quantum in general.
Yeah.
As they refer to them as quantum proof, but that name will change. It'll become quantum equivalent encryption or what have you.
Yeah. Now, I want to bring up something real quick before I forget, and I'm going to breeze through it. It's very short. It's just this. If you have not heard of the Antikythera, it is a mechanism that supposedly was intended to function its intended function was for astronomy. supposedly, and predicting Olympic dates and things like that. Well, the very concept and capability behind it has like a whole bunch of overlaps with cryptographic thinking and mechanisms. So first reason, and just so people can see what it looks like, I'm going to pull it up real quick.
So I've been thinking a lot about the Antikythera after you mentioned it the other day. You know how, okay, think with me for a moment outside of the box. Mm-hmm. We have all of these movies and technology that do time travel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they send something through time travel, it ages or gets damaged.
Mm-hmm. Someone getting left behind type thing.
Antikythera would be a prime example of space-time continuum or space travel, time travel, messing something up and it getting lost.
And if you're using time, let's say it was something used for that, right? This narrative, this sci-fi narrative of like, oh, hey, maybe it's used for time travel or something like that. It would actually make sense because even a machine like that would have cryptography interwoven into it.
Absolutely.
The mechanisms needed, because it would have to know how to decipher where it's moving to and from, which means basically decrypting and unencrypting by narrative speak, or just the narrative alone. It would line right up with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's wild, man. But this is what it looks like. If no one's ever seen it before, was recovered on a ship, a wreck ship from a long time ago. They recovered it, and now no one knows. They try to replicate what it might be for, and they do this.
And those of you just listening, it looks like a bunch of gears and cogs encased in some sort of copper or metallic box that has been deteriorated over time. It kind of looks like it has been beaten and war-torn. There are a lot of 3D renderings and remastering of how it might have looked.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I definitely recommend. We've talked about it a few times on the show. I do recommend a few individuals to go check it out. It is very cool and a deep dive that you will get lost in if you find those sort of things interesting. But as you were saying, Ben, I just wanted to give the audio listeners a little bit of description.
Yeah, no, for sure. So the first thing that it has that is in the cryptographic realm is its gear-based logic. So mechanical cipher potential. So the gears in the mechanism operated on ratios and precision time movement. That same exact principle is used in mechanical cipher machines, like across the board. Now, here's some examples of what these mechanical cipher machines are like. Like the Enigma machine. It was a World War II era electromechanical device that scrambled letters through a system of rotating rotors and plug boards. Now, plug boards are like when people are, imagine like a technology board with like plugs for like, imagine I have my headphone thing pulled out and I'm plugging in. That's a plug board.
Yeah, think like 1930s phone operator.
Yeah, just think that's actually a really good. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. And it would make every key press output a different encrypted letter every single time. So
wow,
it has the same. It literally acts kind of like that one too. It shows the signs of the same type of mechanism that you would find in the Enigma machine. Same with the Thomas Jefferson's disk, a set of rotating disks for scrambling alphabets that, when lined in a specific order, like we said earlier, let you encrypt messages by reading off different rows. And then there's Alberti's cipher wheel, which we talked about earlier. That's the one that sits flat horizontally, right? And it's a dual disc thing, and it invented in the 15th century. It's just like that one too. So if ancient engineers had chosen to, they could have repurposed or modified something like the Antikythera to perform rotational substitution or polyalphabetic encryption. The mechanism has mechanical chops basically to function as a cipher device.
So cool. It's so cool.
That thing they recovered, the reason why this is all speculative kind of, is because, well, they only recovered what was left of it, and a lot of what it was originally is gone.
Yeah.
There's nothing there, like, at all. So you don't really know what it's truly for. Now, 2 would be predictive algorithms like pattern mapping. Well, this thing already has it in there. It already has just from what's recovered of it, it already has everything there for doing pattern mapping. So Antikythera was not like a clock, wasn't just a clock for like astronomy, figuring out when things are going to be where. It was basically a predictive engine because it would also predict the dates of Olympic dates.
Yeah.
So that alone brings it into the realm of pattern recognition, which is the backbone of both crypto analysis and cipher creation.
Yeah, dude. It really...
Yeah. So imagine encoding a message that could only be read when the gears aligned with a specific lunar phase or date. Well, that's not really far-fetched if you were building coded messages, around celestial timing. Just saying, it would have been a layered time-locked encryption mechanism.
And now we can't even use it, unfortunately.
Get this, a layered time-locked, meaning you're only going to be able to read this thing. Or it's like, because what better way to preserve something? Like, let's say you were trying to hide information from someone you didn't trust.
Yeah.
Like let's say they were at war with another country, or maybe
time capsule, dude.
Yeah, essentially, it's like a timed release data capsule. It's like, hey, you can't read this stuff until this date because this thing ain't gonna let you. There's nothing you can do about it. And then boom, here we are. It's fucking wild.
It's the technology of it is well beyond the time of when they suspected coming to fruition. Wasn't it in the Greek Roman era, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna look up
Greco-Roman. Because I know that there was like tales of it during the fire wars that they would have the flamethrowers.
100 BCE.
Yeah. Okay. So much further back than I.
Yeah, they're saying it, dude. That's 100 BCE. That is, what was it? The Spartan sky scale or whatever it was called. Yeah. That was what 5th century BCE.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is 100 BCE, dude. Wait, I'm gonna double check this real quick. I don't trust this. I'm gonna double check this real quick. 100 BCE. What century? I want to know what century that would be.
First.
It'd be the 1st century.
I got it. So it's four centuries.
Wait, does it go? Oh man, this is where I always get screwed up. Is like before, like when you say like AD or BC. When you're in BC, is 5th century moving downward? Like it, kind of like in the number scale, how you have negatives, and then you hit 0, and then it turns into a positive.
Well, don't know.
It move in the same numerical direction, just flip mirrored, just with a negative dash on there? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah, BC counts backwards. So it's
okay. So this is not older than the 5th century.
Yeah,
right?
This is 100 years before the birth of Christ.
Okay. So yeah. So you're right. Sorry. But yeah, that's why I wanted to double check. I was like, wait, I think it just misspoke. Because it threw me off because I was thinking 100th century when I said 100, and I was like, wait, there's no TH on there. I don't trust this.
Yeah, it would be 100 BC as opposed to 500 BC that they had for the other one.
They're assuming, this is their guess. This is like a educational guess. It was the 1st century BCE or 100 BCE, which would be over, over 2,100 years ago.
Oh.
But the fact that they made this over 2,100 years ago still doesn't add up because there wasn't other things doing that. There wasn't like that stuff didn't really exist.
I mean, we also know that we're missing about 300 years of Roman history, and who knows what other amount of years we're missing based off of historical evidence.
The time hypothesis, man.
That's a very real thing.
Phantom time hypothesis.
And the Antikythera plays right into the missing time hypothesis too, right?
Yep, it does.
So if this thing is used in 100 BC as a astronomical cipher clock that's time locked to a certain astral time, holy shit.
Well, I made sure to put this note. You're going to find this fascinating.
No.
So I titled this one Elite Knowledge Only. So the Antikythera mechanism was only understood by a very, very small group of people. And they were not just any people. They were like basically the elites of mathematics, like mathematicians and astronomers, supposedly, back then. But the thing is that when you go and look at, that's why I wrote, this whole thing down, because it was like, well, if it's only a very small group of people, but we don't even know who those people were.
Yeah.
Because this is all just like you guys are just trying to go through history and read what's documented, quote unquote, and you go through the stuff and you're not actually seeing any names, nothing. Sounds to me like no one knew shit about it.
It's a fair assessment.
That's what it sounds to
It's a
me,
fair
because no
assessment.
one said any fucking names. In all my research, I was looking through all these actual, actual historical fucking like authentic websites, like everything where it's
Cool.
where everyone
What the
goes
fuck?
to, the .gov, all that crap, or .org, sorry. There was not a real fucking name associated with that thing for supposedly back then. So it's like, okay, if you don't know anyone who knew it, sounds to me like no one knew it.
Yeah, and everything
Yeah.
has a name associated to it in a time frame. Why
Yep.
does this one thing not?
I don't know.
What do they know that we don't?
I have no clue. But I really think that us versus now is, I think we've dumbed down. Because
You can
nowadays,
tell by just the architecture.
oh yeah, no, I'm meaning just cryptography in general. Everything from back then to now, I think we're dumber now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know someone probably, if someone's listening right now or future listening when this episode released, they're going to go, oh, you just said that we're dumber now when we're using AI and computers and they were using wood spools with parchment paper. It's like, yeah, but go make a SHA-256 out of your brain. Go write it down. Go.
But you ain't doing that.
You're not doing that. You're depending on a tool.
Yep.
They were doing it themselves across the board. Oh, sorry, camera. They were doing it across the board themselves. That's something all of us losers can't do today.
I can't do it.
If
I know
we're going
that
to
for a
use the
fact.
encryption that we're using, we have to use a computer to do it.
Imagine the encryption. Imagine the computer's gone tomorrow, and everything that you have encrypted is now lost.
Yep. Yeah, you lost your Pornhub login.
Thank God.
OnlyFans login.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Nobody needs those.
No, they don't. But yeah, so it's like I really think that there's like the cryptography for us as humans has declined, and I'm talking about like the intuition and like capability aspect, intelligence has declined because the general populace, they don't. It's not even just the general populace, even the people who write this shit, who like are work in IT, do all that stuff, they don't even know how to do it. If you were to take them and put them sit in a seat and go, hey, you need to write this on a pen and paper, no cheat sheet, go.
Can't do that.
No, they can't do anything. They would be like, what? That's so stupid. That's impossible. Well, yeah, no shit.
Why would I do
You
that?
depend
when I
on
can just
something
have
else
my
to do it
computer
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit. So, with that being said, everything about old school cryptography, everything was engineered by humans trained to think abstractly and strategically. It's like playing chess consistently.
Yeah, they were trained to think like a computer.
And, oh, sorry, I switched it to you.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, that's fine.
They were trained. I'll say it again. They were trained to think like a computer. They didn't have it. They needed it. Maybe they knew about them. Because over here, we are always trying to push the boundaries of knowledge and concepts, right? So, we've off camera, we've talked about maybe we have been wiped away as a society, and now we're trying to come back.
Well,
But that's just a different talking subject.
it is kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of, but I got a really cool thing to really make you guys really see what I'm talking about. Because throughout history, everyone in our past, everyone built with intention,
No GUI.
not automation. Plain and simple. You look at everything now, everything we build now is for automating it.
Yeah.
Everything we build, I'm talking about throughout all of our society. It's like, how can we somehow make this process more automated, even with people doing it? And that's where the assembly line bullshit comes in, things like that. And then that was like the precursor, right?
That's where slip-on shoes come in.
Yeah, automate your shoes. Oh, look, Crocs. Don't put them in sport mode. Keep them forward in slow mode. Now the ankle piece.
You don't need to tie your shoes anymore.
If that ankle piece is back around someone's ankle and they're wearing Crocs, dude, they're ready to run.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude, they're ready to run. And they breathe. Not very good if you step on a nail. or any other sharp object that could cut through foam
Do you
very
know that from
easily.
experience?
No, it's just I foresee it happening, and it has happened.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just look up. I'm serious. Anyone out there, if you're in the iBletch or any of that shit,
No.
or even just go on X. X is basically like iBletch half the time sometimes. So depending on what pops into your feed randomly, even if it
Is yours still really bad?
No, it just pops up every once in a while. Even though I never look up the stuff, it just pops up every once in a while. Yeah, but with that being said, trust me, go do a little searching for Croc shoe accidents. Literally type that in.
Okay.
It's hilarious.
I'll do it.
Don't do Google. Google's not gonna work. Anyway, so, anyways, where was I? So, like I was saying, back in the day, they built with intention and not automation. So, if you think about it, like the Spartan Skytail, right? The Caesar cipher, or their Caesar cipher, and the Polybius square, and later the Vigenère cipher. These were tools made from observation, necessity, and pure creativity. Now, there was no programming language, no GUI, no internet forum to ask for help, just raw cognitive engineering. People created encryption methods based on astronomy, linguistics, and then sometimes even poetry, depending on what type of cryptography we're talking about. Like a Renaissance cipher might use layered Latin text, musical notation, or numerology to obscure a message, an art form as much as security measure. Today, we rely on prepackaged libraries and let AI build models we don't even understand.
Yep.
We trust the output because it's smart,
It's better.
it's fast, it's quick,
Yep.
and you said it already, better,
Yeah.
stronger.
Daft Punk.
We can rebuild him. We have the technology,
I'll buy that for $1.
but I don't want to spend a lot of money. Anyways, so that was the $60 man, not the $6 million.
That was RoboCop.
RoboCop 2 with all the fucked up ones.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I love that scene. Anyways, so it's just like, it's supposedly smart. So, but ask the average person, like I said, ask the average person how the algorithm works. Tell them to write it down. It will be a blank fucking stare.
I guarantee you they can't do it.
They cannot do it.
I couldn't do it.
No. Evan, can you do it?
No. I could try.
Yeah.
I'll try.
Ben, can you do it? No.
I wasn't going to ask you.
I was doing it myself. I was the one asking questions here. Come on, dude. Dude. See how aggressively I
Are
grabbed
you
that
going to
mic?
lean over to me too? That's my bit, dude.
Wait. There you go. I was loosening it, kind of. Anyways. Your belt. Hey, dude. You were getting kind of close to me,
It's
dude.
time for me to leave.
No, it's not. Door's locked.
You're trapped.
I initiated don't let Evan escape mode.
What kind of algorithm? What algorithm is that? Is that it's SHA-256 encryption code in the front door that I can't get out of? Oh God!
Yeah.
How do I crack this code? Because I don't know how to do it.
It's because you're thinking it's AI when really it takes a key and you put it in and twist it. Yeah, dude. I love putting it in and twist it.
Okay.
I'm talking about knives.
I'm muting you. And welcome to Just the Evan Show, everybody. This is just for me now. Nobody else is allowed to talk.
No one else allowed to talk. But yeah, but there was a rise in this like blind trust in like these black box systems. This is the best way I could think to put it. Rise of blind trust. So the more powerful encryption becomes, the less accessible it is to the individual mind. We now use tools like RSA, ECC, SHA-256, and post-quantum cryptography, but most users, even developers, treat them like black boxes. You plug in your data, get your output, and never touch the inner workings.
Yep.
One day that's gonna disappear.
That's gonna bite us in the ass.
Because our whole world's going to shift over to it fully, which we already pretty much have. We already have. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
And the world's going to shift over to it, and we're going to be kind of screwed. So, like, compare that to the Alan Turing hand-building logical machines to break Enigma, or Arab scholars in the 9th century discovering frequency analysis just by observing patterns in everyday text. Which We used to decode the world with our minds. Now we wait for the API to load. Yeah, dude, we're so smart now. A small group of people created what we're using right now. And those small group of people eventually aren't going to be around.
It's the aliens.
Shit. I mean that with
Utmost respect.
multiple inner workings in my brain moving at the same time. I am Ben 256. I've been 256. I'm down to about 32-bit right now.
There you go, brother. I'm down to 64-bit right now, baby.
Dude, put me down to 16-bit. Get me on a Genesis, dude. I rock and roll all day.
Dude, 8-bit. Beep, 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 beep.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, there's not much else to really add, is there?
No, there's a whole bunch.
Oh,
so like,
fuck, there's a lot more.
well, I'm talking about like in today, man. Like you
That's
look
so
at
funny.
the downfall of us.
Bro, that is so funny.
Now, there's not. Well, you're a perfect example for why this is important to know.
There's not much left, is there? There's a fuck ton.
No, there's not. There's not much left. It's just a few things. But like, skill has been replaced by software. You see it every day at your job.
Yes, I do.
I see it every day at my job.
I see it every day just existing on the internet, going to the grocery store.
I wake up and I go, we've been replaced. I didn't even have to walk outside, dude. All the microchips in my blood.
I mean, dude, they make you scan and bag your own groceries. They're doing that to get you distracted so that they can put AI in there, get rid of those jobs, and just make you do the work.
Yeah. Because you have to remember something. I'm so glad you said that.
I fucking hate self-checkout.
Yeah, dude, I'm so glad you said that, though. I'm so glad you did. Because think about it. Look at all ever since they put in, not even a year after, I know this is going to sound like a conspiracy, and it is. But just think about this perspective. Very shortly after these self-bagging automated systems got put in place, where we had to bag our own shit and do all that stuff, you know what every single one of them has? A camera, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, we don't want you to steal. Right? Well, sure. That's a good cover. That's probably one of the main reasons they do have it. But the other reason is outside of that organization, the company that created that software. Where does that data go?
To that
Because
company.
that footage, there's multiple things running on it. But all of a sudden, very shortly after bagging your own groceries became a thing, all of a sudden the robotics advancement started kicking up a notch, not even within 6 months.
Yep.
All of a sudden you have the humanoid robots doing things more effectively with their arms and hands and grabbing things. You wonder where that data came from. So, because if you're creating these robots, you don't just go off the movement of one person. You need to see a lot.
Yep.
You have to pull in a lot. Well, at like Boston Dynamics, for example, well, sure, what are they going to use 100 people over and over?
Just the employees?
Just the employees? No, they want to see it from everyone so that they can make the best
Different size, shape,
Yep.
color,
logical
disability.
processes, yeah, for handling its movements, everything. And I wonder why that data just all of a sudden, not the data, but the advancement in humanoid style robots just like a snap of fingers kicked up the moment you wonder how that happened. I wonder it's because maybe the data that from the software is being reported back to whoever created it.
Oh,
and then it's getting dispersed.
It absolutely is.
Yep.
I mean, they're already putting cameras in the store to recognize who has certain applications on their devices. So if you have, they tried it out in Seattle. If you had the Amazon app, you could go into the designated Amazon stores, grab things, and walk out, and it would charge your Amazon account. That was already implemented. It failed because people just leave their phones out and then steal shit.
Yeah.
But
Or you could have it even the worst way, like what you're talking about, that plays right into it. It's actually the same thing.
fingerprints, face scanning.
Yeah.
Amazon, Whole Foods does it. You can scan your palm.
Oh, fuck that.
And it'll pay for your groceries by palm scanning.
Yeah, dude, I need to burn my fingerprints
They
off.
know your face. Every one of these stores know your face already whenever you walk in there. They put a green box around it and they scan it and boom, that's Evan. Bam.
Yeah. I need to start putting on prosthetics on my face and have a different nose.
Have you
different
seen those
cheekbones.
anti-AI, anti-facial recognition like masks people wear? Mm-mm. You can put like a plastic film, like Dwight from The Office when he puts on that plastic mask. He's like, bah. they have one similar to that, but it's like distorted. So it's like it adds like 4 different eyes on your face, and it makes your mouth sideways and upside down.
That's tight.
But to the regular eyes, it looks like you're wearing a face mask.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Wait, I think I may have seen a picture of that.
I want
or
to
a
get
video.
one really bad,
And
but
walk
I don't
around
think
with it?
we're dystopian just yet to where I have to have one.
Yeah.
I think we're on the precipice of dystopia to where they're going to get rid of self-checkouts. They're going to get rid of all these individuals, and they're just going to have you walk up to a booth with your bag and scan everything, scan your face, and pay for your groceries that way.
Yeah. That's fuck that, man. Yeah, no, and well, the other thing was that I was going to add was not. Oh, sorry. Could you repeat that first part again? Not the later part. It was the.
I fucking hate self-checkouts.
No. Sorry, you're talking about walking into a store and it was supposed to scan.
Yeah,
your
so
Amazon
they
account,
did
right?
it in Seattle. It was a test subject for Amazon grocery stores.
Well, guess what was happening? Same concept, only no one was putting this in place. There's something fucked up going on where people were going into these random gas stations. One happened in a gas station, one happened in a grocery store. I don't remember what grocery store it was. These are real stories, by the way. You can go Google them. They pop up in Google searches. But basically what was happening was, the RFID scanners, right?
Yeah.
For scanning your wallet, you put your card up there and tap it, the tap to pay bullshit. Well, a woman had her card in her purse. Her wallet was still in her purse on her side. The thing is right here in front of her, and she reaches into her bag, doesn't pull out her wallet. She had a card that was sitting to the side that she was going to use. It was one of her, I don't remember what card it was. She went in to go scan it, but before she ever could, it already said it was paid for. And she was like, I didn't pay for this yet. And then even the clerk, it was just some young kid, behind there. He was confused. He was like, I don't know what just happened. Well, other people got charged too. They did an investigation. And just in that one gas station alone, they had over 20 different charges that happened to people's cards who did not even purchase anything while in the store. They weren't even doing anything. They just walked close to the checkout when they were walking out, because it's all right there next to the door you walk in out of. And that scanner, its frequency
It's so strong.
was so strong, it was grabbing anyone walking by.
That's that 5G.
And it was happening also in grocery stores, random, right? Now it's like, once they figured out the problem, they fixed it. Well, guess how they fixed it? They got rid of this tap to pay. They just went back to the old school method where you had to stick it in. Anyway,
I personally like the touch to pay thing on my card, but I know that it's not secure or smart.
it's more secure. You can get around. So those the scammers, how they'll put the fake cover over. It's not a fake cover. It's got that
skimmer.
little bit. Yeah, the skimmer. Well, I know there are some out now that are touch to, they can do touch to pay and still grab your information. But that's a pretty recent upgrade on those. Before it was all you had to actually insert the card. Well, now they do have ones that can do that, but I guess it's still not consistent from what I've read about. It messes up storing the data. So it really does rely on you have to insert the card.
That's cool.
So what scammers are doing now is every time they go to tap their card, if they have one of those fake ones on that they programmed and set up, it will not let it tap. It just blocks the tap. It's like an RFID blocker. It doesn't let it tap, so it forces you to insert the card.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Anytime, I'm not gonna lie, ever since I read about that I wouldn't say a year ago, maybe 8 months. Let's just say over the past year. Anytime I go to a place to pay and I go to tap and it doesn't work, I don't buy anything there. I leave.
That's fair.
I won't take the chance. I go, nope, I'm out.
Yep.
Because some of those ones that are on there, I know in the videos where people are like, look, I found a scammer's thing, and they just peel it off like it's nothing. Most of the time, they don't just peel off easy. They don't, because they're crimped on there. Not crimped from a tool, but they have a clip. So it's you got to actually pry that thing, and you're going to be doing that in front of the cashier that works there, because half the time it's a customer that finds it all of a sudden. It's how'd the customer find it?
Why do they know?
How do they know?
All right, we got to end this though.
Oh yeah, we do need to end it. Anyways,
I got to run.
but that's all I got. I think there's a couple of things, but it doesn't really matter. You guys get what we're trying to say is that I feel like we've gotten dumber as a populace when it comes to creating actual innovative tools that would meet our necessities versus now where everything's corporatized and everything on this weird new structure where it's oh no, we just need to automate everything. That's what our intent is. And where all the computer shit's gone to. It's just automate, automate, automate. Well, now no one knows how to do shit, and no one even thinks creatively. It dumbs us down creatively, imagination-wise.
That's right.
Abstractly. Like now, like thinking outside the box is so hard for people. I'm sure I know you've seen that.
I see it on an everyday basis.
Yeah, it's wild, but
It's scary. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cryptography is a very real thing. It goes on every single day in your life. Pay attention to it. Know what's going on. Understand that it is beneficial to you. It's not a scary thing.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, you'll have a wonderful week. We'll see you next time. I'm Evan as always.
Yep. And I'm Ben, and I'll tell you right now, I'm looking forward to eventually here we will do an episode about finding the clearest, and we'll make sure that it gets advertised properly. It's not about what you think. There isn't a guy named Clit, and his last name is Itorus, but it's pronounced Itorus. So we'll find you, Clit.
We'll find you.
Yeah, that's all I got. Anyways,
I'll take it down.
yeah, we'll see you guys later. Bye.